It's AJ just giving you an update here on the 45 gallon reef tank. As you'll see, we're not in the reef tank. We're actually in our dining room real quick for the start of this video. I just want to talk the auto top off system, what it's for, and what we are going to be doing for the 45 gallon reef. Basically, auto top off replenishes evaporated fresh water to keep your salinity stable, as well as reduces daily maintenance of having to top off that fresh water. So there's numerous ways you can do that. There's numerous systems out there you can do that. Gravity feed systems, a switch, a pump. There's multiple auto top off systems right out the box you can just buy. I'm going to go ahead and share with you what I decided to do, since we have the Reefkeeper controller on the tank, as well as a few of my solutions. First thing I'm going to go ahead and show you guys is, obviously we've got two containers here. This is the Trigger Systems Ruby 5 gallon auto top off. This is what's on the 75 gallon tank. I took it off just to show you guys, excuse me, comparison to this one over here on the right. Forgive me. I did do a little DIY to it, where I basically drilled a bulkhead, put a Murloc bulkhead in the top, and then an acrylic tube, especially because I run calc washer on my auto top off. So I did that. Now, just to kind of give you guys a price, this is, I believe I paid $119.99 for this one. I mean, it is a very nice acrylic tank. However, for this one on my right, I just got a standard 5.5 gallon tank, and some of the leftover acrylic I had from building the sump, and I created my own. Wasn't that hard to cut the acrylic to size, shave it off. I even put a little thumb screw so I have a handle for the filling door. And then I did the same thing as far as with the acrylic tube. I just drilled out a hole in the acrylic, put the bulkhead in, and again, an acrylic tube that's going to sit about ½ an inch off the bottom of the tank, because I wanted to run calc washer as well. I then gradually filled up gallon by gallon to get my markings, and I just marked them off with a Sharpie. So that way I kind of have an idea how much I'm evaporating each day, which right now I'm doing about a gallon on the tank, and I'm tired of doing it by myself. As I mentioned, because we have the Reefkeeper, we're going to go ahead and use that as our controller to control the auto top off. And for that, you need some sort of switch or sensor. I've always just used the standard float switches. I've never had a problem with them. I know they are mechanical and they can fail, so make sure you keep these clean and free of any debris. This one I actually got from Marine Depot. I just wanted the bracket, but it came with a switch. It's a magnetic one, is I believe $24. It has a cool little holder for your line, your auto top off line. It has the switch, and then it has this little acrylic piece that goes over it to prevent stuff from getting inside there and getting it stuck. Biggest thing you guys can do is always just make sure it's clean. I personally, whenever I do like my water changes and I'm checking out things in the sump, I always just take a quick toothbrush to mine and clean it off. And I've never had one fail. Especially using in conjunction with the Reefkeeper and calc washer, we'll be setting up an alarm to notify us when the pH is too high, and if it reaches that set point, it'll actually turn off the auto top off. So even if this does get stuck, the controller will eventually turn it off. For now, I am just going to be using a Tom's Aqualifter pump. It's a very cheap pump, like 17 bucks. It's an old one I've had lying around. Down the road, I would like to upgrade to a nice peristaltic pump or something with a little more features. For our line, I just use standard quarter tube. I got hard and soft quarter tube. And then for the computer, we're going to be using this to program the Reefkeeper to indicate when the switch needs to be on, or to indicate when the auto top off needs to be on and off. Sorry, getting a little tongue tied. One last thing, I did have to modify this switch a little bit. There's a port on your SL1, SLX, or SL2 module that is a switch port, and it requires this cable. Part of the reason I didn't buy the quick kit with the Reefkeeper that comes with this is I had an extra one lying around when I had to replace one. And then I really couldn't justify spending $45 for just a bracket. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get to the tank, get this thing set up. Okay guys, here we are back at the tank. I went ahead and got everything installed. Now, because this tank is a work in progress, there are a lot of wires and stuff that will get cleaned up as we add equipment, which we're really getting close to wrapping up the equipment portion. There's really only a handful of things we need left, in which case I'll get all the electronics and cords buttoned up. But anyhow, this is kind of the layout I went with. So you'll see there's the inside of the stand. You got the sump on the left and the ATO container on the right, and then the Reefkeepers, everything's all mounted on the right side. So you'll notice the red wire right next to the Vortec controller. That is where the SL2 module, which I have running all the way through here, and then the sensor as well as the ATO line go into this chamber right here. So I went ahead and put that on the first channel of the Reefkeeper, and the reason why I did that is the first and fourth channel of the Reefkeeper can handle lower amounts of power, to where basically they recognize smaller amounts of power and they will function properly. If you put it on a small pump such as this that doesn't draw a whole lot of power, and on one of the other two channels, the second or third, it might actually stay on, and you don't want that. So right now the reservoir is empty. We do have everything hooked up and ready to go. I'm just going to kind of show you guys here on the computer through the MyReef software what we're going to go ahead and do. And I've already kind of started this. I selected my PC4, okay, and I went to setup. And again, this is on channel 1. And then I put it on selected auto. And then function is controller. And then you select your sensor port, in this case the SL2, and then SWA switch. Okay, and then the direction is you trip when it's below. I also went ahead and renamed it ATO in case I ever need to do something from the head unit up here. It'll tell me what I'm working with. Okay, and now I am gonna have an alarm set. I don't believe I have any alarm set on this system, so I'll go ahead and leave that as is right now, and I'll go ahead and set up alarm. So I go to the Reefkeeper light icon, and then let's see here. Go over here to setup, and it brings up this menu, and then we'll go to our alarms, which is the last option. And yeah, at this point I don't have any alarms, so we're going to select alarm 1, and if my pH gets too high I want it to flash at me, and I want it to, we're going to select SL2 and then the pH probe, and then we're going to have it if it goes above 8.45. So when it's above, it'll trigger that. So we'll apply and save. So then we'll go back to the PC4 icon and back to the setup, and then where it says alarm, we'll select number 1, and we will, in this case we want it to be off. If alarm 1 is ever triggered, that'll prevent this pump from turning on. Okay, so now it should be set up. I actually do have the sensor lower than what I want my highest water mark to be. Just so this is how I'll go ahead and test it. I'll just go ahead and raise the sensor up, and as you see, it turns on. And then as we lower the sensor down in the water, it turns off. So it is working properly. And it is that simple to set up an auto top off on the Reefkeeper system. Now, just to kind of give you guys an idea, total cost, let's see, $25 for the switch, $15 for the pump, so it puts us at $40, plus what I'm into for the actual tank to hold the reservoir, let's see, $12. We'll call another $10 in acrylic in case you buy a half sheet, so $22. So what's it, $62? And that's if you have the Reefkeeper. We have a full auto top-off system. So, until next time. While I have you guys here at the tank, I guess I'll go ahead and show you guys. It is completed its nitrogen cycle, or its initial cycle for the ammonia. It's been going 2-3 weeks now. I dosed 10 milliliters daily of the Microbacter 7 from Brightwell, as well as some shadow feeding, and then I also put a whole bottle of Biospira in from Instant Ocean just to kind of kick off the nitrogen cycle. And then I put in a fish, one that my wife wanted. I'll show you guys that at a later date. But as you see, the tank is up and running. I haven't done the first initial water change yet. I will be doing that here probably within a week. I just want to give it another week to stabilize before I do 100% water change or close to. And then we will be looking at getting a light, a skimmer, a reactor, and then talking livestock. Till next time, like, subscribe. Peace.